In Canto 3, Chapter 8, verse 22. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kalena soja purushaya. Kalena soja purushaya shabhi. Pravrita yogena virudha bodha. Swayam tadanta hridayeva bhatam. Apashyapat pashyata yana purvam. During 100 years, Brahma stayed in a state of meditation. Through the mercy of the Lord, the light of wisdom awakened within him. He then saw the Lord reveal himself in his heart, the one whom he could not perceive before, even though his efforts could have made it happen. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the word Purusha Yusha signifies during 100 years. This duration must be accepted according to the time of the human beings, and not the time that is going on in the planet of Brahma. When Brahma attained a mature state in his meditation on the Lord, he saw him. Which confirms that later that Brahma in the Srimad Bhagavatam he manifested this eternal form on which the devotees meditate upon. The Lord manifested himself in his heart and he saw him. The one who previously tried to see him without success by going to the source of the lotus, the navel of the Lord.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Shinamane Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Sindhari Prachatya Rishakarine.
It is a verse that has a lot of significance and which proves that through our own effort we cannot see the Supreme Lord. It is impossible. We need a blessing. And this blessing must be accompanied with the attitude. If the attitude is not good, even if we receive a blessing, it doesn't bring the desired effect. The blessing must be accepted as a form of love in the disciple. He must have love for the Guru, love for the Lord. And this blessing, naturally, it will nourish the fruit, the revelation. It cannot be any other way. Certain disciples, for example,
Ils veulent la bénédiction du Guru.
They want the blessing of the Guru,
Mais ils font des activités
but they do
matérielles pour avoir des gains matériels.
material activities to gain material gains.
C'est contradictoire.
It's contradictory.
Si vous nourrissez des désirs
If you
matériels,
nourish material desires,
comment vous pouvez avoir la bénédiction du Guru?
how can you have the blessings of the Guru?
Chez vous-même.
You cheat yourself.
C'est pourquoi on doit bien comprendre les
That's why we must understand properly the teachings of the spiritual master.
On voit par exemple
We see, for example,
ce passage du Bhagavatam,
this passage of Bhagavatam is very important
parce que Brahma,
because Brahma,
lorsqu'il est
when
le seul être
he was born as the only being
pendant cette période de
during
l'univers, il
this
était
period of the universe, he was alone.
Et naturellement,
And naturally, because he was alone,
beaucoup au début de compter sur sa propre force.
he could only at the beginning but count on his own
C'est parce
strength.
que il n'est pas un être
But because he's not an ordinary being and he has a security from previous lives,
à un moment, il s'est
at
dit,
some point he told
"À quoi
himself,
sert mon effort?
what is the use of my effort?
Je vais,
I will.
il y a naturellement une
There's naturally
condition qui va se
a
passer.
condition that
Et
will
là,
happen,
naturellement,
and
le
then
Seigneur
naturally
envoie un signe.
the Lord sends a
Et
sign
il lui demande d'accomplir
and he
des
asks him to perform austerities.
Mais pourquoi?
But
Parce
why?
que Brahma,
Because
il
Brahma,
n'est pas un être ordinaire.
since he is not an ordinary being,
Le Seigneur lui vient en aide.
the Lord comes to his aid.
Et parce qu'il n'est pas un être ordinaire,
And because he is not an ordinary being,
lorsque le Seigneur lui vient en aide,
when the Lord comes to
il
his
comprend
aid,
l'importance de cette aide.
he understands the importance of this aid.
Et à ce moment-là,
And at this
il
point,
accomplit les
he
austérités,
performs austerities, but with the proper
pour
attitude
satisfaire le
to
Seigneur.
satisfy the Supreme Lord.
Et le résultat,
And the
est quoi?
result is what?
C'est que le Seigneur,
It's that the Lord,
pour le récompenser
to
de sa
reward
bonne
him
attitude,
of his good attitude, of his feeling, he revealed himself to him.
et il a eu
And he had
le fruit
the fruit
de son austérité,
of his austerities,
de sa dévotion.
of his devotion.
Et ça, c'est quelque chose qui est important.
And this is something that is important.
Et on voit Brahma,
And we see Brahma
il n'est vraiment pas un être ordinaire.
is really not an ordinary
Brahma
being.
racontait hier
Maharaj was sharing yesterday
de quelle manière il
in
avait
which
le
way
darshan de Radharani.
he had the darshan of Radharani.
C'est vraiment quelque
And
chose
it's really something
qui est extraordinaire.
that is extraordinary
Parce que Brahma
because
désirait
Brahma desired
véritablement
to
avoir
truly
le
have
darshan de Radharani.
the darshan of Radhika.
Personne ne peut avoir le darshan.
Nobody can have the darshan of Radhika.
Pourquoi?
Why?
Parce que
Because Braj
est un endroit
is a place
d'extrême intimité.
of extreme intimacy.
Il faut être libéré de toute impureté matérielle.
We need to be liberated from all material impurities, of material desires,
Des désirs matériels.
the material desires
Puissants,
of lust,
c'est avoir un mari,
to have a husband,
femme,
a wife,
des expériences,
to have experiences with the human beings.
Et ce qui est
And
paradoxal,
what is
c'est que
paradoxal
on a eu des millions,
is that we had millions and billions of these experiences already.
Un jeune,
For example, a young,
moi, j'ai
he will
pas eu
tell
cette
you,
expérience.
I don't have these
En fait,
experiences,
c'est complètement faux.
but it's completely
Dans
false.
toutes les formes et
In
dans
all
toutes les
forms,
expériences.
we had these experiences already.
Et les Védas expliquent,
And the Vedas explain
c'est comme un pot
it's just like a pot
qui a été brûlé.
that was burnt.
Il a toujours le goût de brûler.
It always has the taste of burning, but we make another preparation in it.
C'est la nature de l'âme.
It is the nature of the conditioned soul
C'est qu'il va toujours
that it will always desire again and again the same desire.
Et donc, ces désirs
And so these material desires,
empêchent d'être
they
vivant,
forbid the living
de
entity
pouvoir devenir un vrai dévot.
from being able to become a real devotee.
Et donc,
And so,
naturellement,
naturally,
le Seigneur
the Lord
doit créer
must
des arrangements
create arrangements
pour que ces désirs partent.
for these desires to come
Ça
out.
prend du temps.
But it takes time.
C'est pourquoi
That is why
c'est pas.
it is not easy,
Et souvent, il crée
and
un
often
arrangement
he creates an
pour qu'une
arrangement
personne
so that
qui
a
a
person,
une expérience
he has the
et
experience
qu'il devient
and he becomes disgusted from this
il
experience.
s'en détache.
He detaches himself.
Parce que sans ça, ça serait comme une malédiction.
Because otherwise it will be like a curse.
Ça continuerait vie après vie.
It will be continuing life after life after life.
Toujours la même erreur.
Always the same
S'attacher
mistake.
à une autre personne
Attaching
que-
oneself to another person than the Supreme Lord.
Finalement, avoir une
And
dévotion
finally,
mixte,
having a mixed devotion, and taking birth in the heavenly planets.
C'est ça le résultat.
This is the result
D'adorer le Seigneur
of worshipping the Supreme Lord with material desires.
Ça sert à rien
It is useless
d'étudier
to study,
par
for example,
les divertissements de Radha et
the pastimes of Radha and Krishna,
d'apprendre des versets.
learning
Et en
verses,
même temps,
and at the same time,
on cultive des désirs
we cultivate material desires,
d'avoir un beau corps,
to have a beautiful body,
d'avoir une femme.
to have a wife, for example.
C'est complètement idiot.
It's completely stupid.
Il n'y a qu'un idiot qui peut faire.
Only a fool can do this.
Vous comprenez?
You understand?
C'est quelqu'un dont
He's someone
l'intelligence a été volée par lui.
from which the intelligence was stolen by Maya.
Et c'est important
And it is important
d'entendre cette stupidité.
to hear this foolishness,
Parce qu'il faut qu'elle parte.
because it must go away.
Et ça, c'est le devoir du maître Père.
And this is the duty of the spiritual master.
Tu as besoin d'un élément,
You need an
c'est
element.
pas interdit,
It's not forbidden,
mais pas de cette manière.
but not in this way.
Parce que ça,
Because this
c'est pas la bhakti.
is not bhakti.
Et à un moment,
And at some point,
tu partiras.
you will leave.
Parce que si tu cultives
Because
vraiment des
if you
désirs,
cultivate really material desires,
tu pourras pas rester un.
you will not be able to stay a devotee.
Parce que quand une femme va
Because when a lady will come,
qu'elle va te regarder
she will look at you in the eyes
et t'envoûter,
and she will bewitch you.
tu oublieras.
Then you will forget
Elle te
Krishna.
dira, viens avec moi.
When she will tell you, come with me,
Alors, tu seras complètement,
then you will be deceived completely.
complètement.
Completely.
Le pouvoir de Maya,
The power of Maya
extraordinaire.
is extraordinary.
On voit par exemple
We see, for example,
des histoires de Vraja sont
stories of Vraja
extrêmement compliquées à comprendre.
that are extremely complicated to understand.
Je me rappelle de cette histoire
I remember the story
où Krishna se divertissait
Ouais.
avec une gopi qui s'appelait Viraj.
where Krishna was enjoying with a gopi that was called Viraj.
Hein, c'est une gopi extrêmement belle.
She's a gopi that is extremely beautiful,
Elle était comme Radha.
that has qualities like
Elle est
Radharani.
plus âgée, elle a 16 ans.
She's more aged, she has 16 years
Et on
old.
voit que Krishna,
And we see that
dans
Krishna,
le divertissement à Vraja,
in the pastimes in Vraj,
il est dans différentes situations,
he is in different
avec
situations
différentes compagnes éternelles.
with different eternal companions,
Pourquoi
concerts.
c'est très intéressant?
Why it is really interesting?
Parce que lorsqu'on est dans
Because
un camp,
when we are in a group,
on peut voir simplement
we-
Krishna
we can
avec
see
Radharani.
simply Krishna in love with
Et
Radharani.
dans ce divertissement,
But in this
Krishna
pastime,
est vraiment attaché à Viraj.
Krishna is really attached to Viraj.
Vraiment attaché.
Really, really attached to
Et
Viraj.
Radharani est
And
devenue
Radharani, she became
extrêmement jalouse.
extremely
Quand elle a
jealous.
appris que Krishna
When
était
she heard that Krishna
avec Viraj.
was with Viraj,
Vraiment.
she was
Elle
extremely
était
jealous.
vraiment en colère.
She was really angry.
Et elle a fait un plan
And she made a plan
avec, je sais plus, 1 milliard
With
700 millions de gopis.
1,700,000,000 gopis
Avec un char qui avait
with a cart, a chariot that had
3 millions de dômes,
3 million domes,
des centaines de milliers de roues,
hundreds of thousands of wheels,
des chevaux, quelque chose d'incommensurable.
and it's an immeasurable thing, a lot of horses. Only in Vraj you can see.
Des paysages,
And inside there were
des
landscape,
rivières,
rivers,
des
kunjas,
des trucs inimaginables.
crazy, unimaginable
Et
things.
donc,
And so,
Radharani, elle est
Radharani,
arrivée
she
dans
arrived
cet endroit
in this
où
place
Krishna était avec Viraj.
where Krishna was with Viraj.
Mais
But
la différence,
the difference
c'est que les kunjas
is that the
de
kunjas
Radharani, elles sont
of
gardées par
Radharani,
les
they are guarded by the
Là, elles
Sakis.
sont gardées par les pattes.
And this time they were guarded by the cowherd boys.
Donc, dans certains
So in certain
les
pastimes,
pattes ont des positions particulières.
the cowherd boys, they have particular positions.
C'est intéressant,
It's interesting
comme les choses peuvent changer.
how things can change, the visions can change.
Donc, c'est
So
c'est impossible de comprendre.
it is impossible to understand Braj.
C'est des visions.
They're just visions that we have.
Visions.
We are in one vision, but there are many ways of seeing
C'est
things.
extraordinaire.
And it is extraordinary.
Et donc, quand
And so when
Radharani, elle a voulu-
Radharani, she wanted to enter,
Déjà, Viraj a-
already Viraj became frightened.
elle s'est manifestée comme une rivière
She manifested herself as a river,
qui a entouré Vraja.
which was surrounding Vraja.
Krishna a disparu.
And Krishna disappeared.
Et donc, elle s'est
And so
querellée avec Sridhar.
she quarreled with Sridham,
Vraiment querellée.
really quarreled.
Elle lui a dit, t'es comme ton
And
maître.
she told him, "You're like your master.
T'es juste un trompeur, un tricheur.
You're just a deceiver, a cheater." She was really harsh with him, really harsh.
À un moment, Sridhar, il a
And at one point, Sridham, he cracked.
il lui a dit, en fait,
He told her, in fact,
comment tu parles?
"How do you speak?
Krishna, il peut créer
Krishna can create
des personnalités comme toi d'une manière illimitée.
personalities like you in unlimited ways for your pleasure.
Comment tu peux parler de cette manière
How can you speak in this way
à mon maître?
to my master?
En fait, tu te mets en colère.
In fact, you become angry,
comme humaine,
just like a human lady.
hein, et je te maudis
And I curse you
de devenir
to become
une gopi
a gopi
sur la terre.
on earth."
Et là, Radharani,
And Radharani, she told him,
tu es comme un démon.
"You're like a demon.
Alors tu prends
So,
naissance comme un démon.
You will take birth as a demon."
Ça rigole pas. Et là, Radharani,
And then Radharani,
complètement.
she became completely frightened of Krishna. She said, "Sridham cursed me.
Il m'a maudit de
He
devenir
cursed me to become
gopi.
a gopi."
Et Krishna dit, t'inquiète,
Krishna said, "Don't worry.
tu ne seras pas séparé.
You will not be separated from me.
C'était mon désir de venir sur la terre.
It was my desire to come on earth, and that you are with
On va
me.
prendre une forme particulière.
So we must take a special form, both of us."
Et c'est intéressant.
And it's interesting,
La conception aussi d'une
the
forme
conception also
particulière.
of a special form in the Boma Vrindavan. Hmm.
Il y a tellement de subtilités.
There are so many subtleties. And Sridham also he came
En pleurant parce qu'il allait
crying
séparer de Krishna.
because he was getting separated from Krishna.
T'inquiète pas.
He said, "Don't
C'est
worry.
juste un demi.
It's just one semi-moment that you will be separated from me. But it lasts
Je
still
sais plus, 1 million d'années. Je crois.
a million years, I don't know.
Un quart d'instant.
One quarter of a moment,
Parce que c'est le temps éternel.
because it's the eternal time.
1 million.
But it's equivalent to a million, I don't know many years on earth.
Et donc, alors cette histoire,
So this story,
elle est un peu
it is a little bit
déroutante parce que
disturbing
dans
because
d'autres histoires, c'est
in other stories,
c'est relaté avec
it is related with Sudam,
cette histoire-là.
this story,
Où Sudam a eu
Where
une
Sudam
relation avec Vrindadevi.
had a relationship with Brindadevi.
Il est amoureux de Vrindadevi.
He is in love with Brindadevi Sudam. Mm.
Et ça n'a pas plu à Radharani,
And it didn't please Radharani,
qui a maudit Sudam.
who cursed Sudam
D'être un démon.
to be like a
Donc, cette
demon.
histoire, elle est un peu mélangée.
So this story is a little mixed, but
On peut
we
la
can
raccorder quelque part sans la raccorder.
harmonize it
On
somehow.
prendra pas la suite avec
Because
Sridhar.
I don't know, otherwise we don't have the follow-up with Sridham.
Donc on va la raccorder aujourd'hui avec celle-là.
So we will connect it today with this one, with
Et
Sridham.
donc, Sridhar
And so Sridham
et Vrindadevi se
and
sont
Brindadevi, they were cursed.
Et de cette manière-là,
And in this way,
le Seigneur
the
a
Lord
permis
allowed
que Sudam et Sridham soient
Sudam and Sridham to be married.
mariés. Donc Sudam a pris la forme de Shankachura,
Sudam took the form of Shankachuda,
un démon extrêmement puissant.
an extremely powerful demon.
Il avait accompli des austérités.
He performed austerities.
de Vishnu.
He had an amulet of Vishnu. He was
Il avait
invincible.
aussi obtenu cette bénédiction.
He obtained also this blessing from Brahma to be able to
Tulasi,
have Tulasi,
qui est Vrindadevi.
who is Brindadevi, as a spouse.
Elle avait accompli des austérités.
She performed austerities to have Krishna as her husband.
Mais
But
elle avait reçu cette bénédiction
she received this blessing
d'avoir Narayana
to have Narayana as her husband,
et pouvoir aussi
And
s'associer
being able also to associate
avec Krishna.
in Goloka Vrindavan with
Donc,
Krishna.
c'est extrêmement complexe.
So it's extremely complex, the leelas of the Supreme Lord.
Donc, Shankachura
So Shankachuda,
était tellement puissant
he was so powerful
que
that
personne ne pouvait.
nobody could defeat him.
Il y avait Dans la bataille, il y avait,
In the battle there was
il y avait Kali,
Kali, Ganesh, Kartikeya,
tous les grands démons.
all the greatest devas. It was a big battle, but they were not able to defeat him.
Et donc, ils ont été voir.
And so they went to see the Lord.
Et le Seigneur leur a
And
dit,
the Lord told them,
ne vous inquiétez
do not
pas, je vais
worry,
venir agir.
I will
C'est
come.
mon dévot,
He is my devotee. It's Sudam.
qui je lui ai donné cette bénédiction.
I gave him this blessing to be able
De venir comme un démon,
to come as a
pouvoir
demon
se marier
and to be able to get married
avec des démons.
with Brinde Devi.
Donc je vais le libérer de cette situation pour
So,
qu'il revienne à moi.
I will liberate him from this
Pour ça,
situation so that he
je
comes
vais
back
venir
to me.
comme un vieux
For this,
Brahmana,
I will come as an old Brahmana
et je vais lui demander
and I will ask him
de me donner son amulette.
to give me his amulet, his pendant,
Et je vais
in
prendre
charity.
la forme
And I will take the
de
form
Shankachuda.
of
Je vais
Shankachuda
retirer
and I will take
la
away
chasteté de Tulasi.
the chastity of
Parce que
Tulasi,
cette chasteté
because this
est tellement
chastity
puissante qu'elle
is so
rend
powerful
invincible.
that she makes her husband invincible. Can you
La
believe
chasteté
it?
d'une femme peut
The
rendre
chastity of a lady can make the man invincible.
Et donc,
And so,
le Seigneur Narayan
the Lord
s'est
Narayan,
manifesté
he manifested as a Brahmana, an old Brahmana, and on the battlefield he went to see Shankachuda. It's incredible. And Shankachuda, as soon as he saw the Brahmana, he offered his obeisance and said, how can I satisfy you? What charity do you want? He said, I want your pendant. Amulet? Amulet?
Yeah.
Et
Amulet.
donc, il a tout de suite
And so,
compris
he immediately understood
qu'il venait lui.
that it was the Lord that came to him.
Et donc, dans cette
And so, in this description, the Lord told him,
maintenant tu vas être
Now,
tué
you will be killed
et tu vas pouvoir
and
venir à moi et je
you will
vais,
be able to come to me
comment dire, prendre
and I
ta
will
forme
take your form
pour prendre la chasteté de
to
ta
take the
femme.
chastity of
Parce
your
qu'elle
wife
veut s'associer avec
because she wants to associate with me.
Elle a fait des austérités
She made austerities to have me.
de cette manière.
In this way,
son désir,
I will fulfill her
et en
desire
même temps, tu pourras
and at the same time you will be able to come back to me.
Shankachuda,
So Shankachuda, he was
il s'est
happy
fait tuer par Shiva.
and he was killed by
Avec
Shiva
son strident.
with his trident. That's it.
Et donc, le
And
Seigneur
so,
Narayan s'est
The Lord
manifesté
Narayan
en
manifested himself as Shankachuda, and when Brinde Devi, she saw him, he was with a lot, all of his army that was coming back. Everything was in like a parade, just like he had defeated Lord Shiva. She couldn't believe it. She said, my husband became the defeater of Shiva. How is that possible? So she asked him. So she washed his feet, etc. She welcomed him in the best of ways. And he told her, except they were not able to fight, to defeat me. I was so strong that Brahma intervened and he made a treaty and I came back a winner. So the Supreme Lord, under the form of Shankachuda, so he enjoyed with Tulasi. But because it was a desire of the Lord, because he can take the form, can take the fragrance, can take everything is the origin of everything, he showed a little difference in between Shankachuda and him. And there, Tulasi Devi, she knew her husband by heart. Because when a woman unites with her husband, she knows everything in which way the husband unites with her. That is why in the material world often the man or the woman, they treat their man or woman because it's always the same thing. It is one of the reasons why the couples they break and fight. Because in the age of Kali, everything is based on sex life. So, it doesn't hold too much. It is explained in the Bhagavata. And so, at one point she had a doubt. She said, it's not my husband. And she asked him, who are you? And then the Lord took his form with 4 arms. He said, in fact, I'm the Lord Narayan. I fulfilled your desire because you made austerities to have me, as a husband.
Et là, elle est devenue en colère.
And then she became angry, Tulasi. You cheated me.
Cœur de pierre.
You have a heart made of
Comme
stone.
une pierre.
You're like a
Parce que tu n'as pas de
stone.
sentiment.
Because you don't have feelings for people who love you.
Maudit de
So
une pierre.
I curse you to be like a stone.
Et de
And so
cette manière,
the Lord
Shalagram Shila.
came in this way to Shalagram Shila, in fact.
Et donc, il a dit à
And so he
Tulasi
said to Tulasi,
qu'en fait, il devait
that in
être
fact,
Shalagram Shila.
he will become the Shalagram
À
Shila.
partir d'une montagne,
From a mountain,
des pierres descendraient
stones will come down in the river,
Gandaki, qui
Gandaki,
en fait serait
which will be
la forme de Tulasi,
the form of Tulasi,
Vrindadevi.
Vrindadevi.
Et
And
elle prendrait aussi
she will take also
naissance à travers le
birth
poil de son corps
through the hair of his body
Tulasi.
as plant, Tulasi plant. And everywhere
Serait adorée,
she will be worshipped
glorifiée.
and glorified.
Et elle trouverait la
And
place
she will find her
à
place
ses pieds
at his
et
feet
sous la forme du Shalagram.
and the form of the Shalagram Shila.
Partout, le Seigneur
Everywhere the Lord
accepterait ses offrandes.
will accept his offerings. Then there has to be Tulasi flowers.
Les divertissements du Seigneur sont
So the pastimes of the Lord are so complex, so much complex.
Elle a reçu aussi cette bénédiction.
She received also this blessing
Pouvoir avoir des moments.
to be able to have also a moment with Krishna.
C'est incroyable.
It is incredible.
Donc le Seigneur comble les désirs.
So the Lord fulfills the desires of all living entities.
C'est tellement.
It is so much wonderful.
Et on voit que Brahma,
And we see that Brahma,
il a tellement une place importante.
he has such an important
Dans ce
place
divertissement
in this pastime,
où, à
where,
cause de cette malédiction,
because of this curse,
Krishna, il a dit, ne t'inquiète
Krishna said, do not
pas,
worry,
tu ne seras pas séparé de moi.
you will not be separated from me.
Et Maharaj a expliqué de quelle
And Maharaj explained yesterday in which way Nanda Maharaj, he was keeping the cows with a small baby, in which way time became, the weather became so much frightening. It was frightening. The branches were breaking. It was like a hurricane. And Nanda Maharaj was starting to be afraid for the child. He didn't know how he could bring back the cows. He was in a situation. Krishna makes this arrangement. And then Radharani, she appeared. So beautiful. And it's interesting. Because in fact, in the associates of the Lord, there is, when they descend on earth, there are different manifestations of themselves, expansions, who make austerities, and who are more situated in Aishvarya. And through all these characters, different feelings are experienced in the Leelas of Krishna. That is why, according to the Aishvarya also, and the sweetness of the sages, they have different perceptions of the characters. And there Nanda Maharaj, as a person who has performed austerities, to take birth as Nanda Maharaj, we know the story of the previous form of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. They are partial expansions of the original form. And here, they express themselves just like beings who were not eternally situated in Vraja. And there, they receive blessings to be eternally situated in Goloka Vrindavan. All these are Leelas. It's extremely complicated. It's not simply the vision of the sages. It's because there are different expansions that manifest in the associates of the Lord. The proof is that when the associates of the Lord, they killed each other in Prabhas. The eternal associates, they dissociated themselves from the demigods. And it's the demigods who killed each other, not the eternal associates of the Lord. So it is extremely complicated. So we'll stop here. But just to tell a little bit, it is that Brahma,
le Brahma de
this
l'univers,
Brahma, or Brahma of the universe,
est tellement qualifié
is so much
qu'il a
qualified
eu cette
that he had
bénédiction
this
de
blessing
pouvoir
to be
adorer
able
Brahma
to worship the lotus feet of Radharani
et offrir de si belles
and offer such beautiful
Et quand
prayers.
Radharani
And when
était
Radharani,
satisfaite de ses
she was
prières,
satisfied with his
quelle
prayer, she
bénédiction
asked
il voulait.
which blessing he
Il
wanted.
voulait toujours de
He always wanted to become her devotee,
Et elle lui a donné la bénédiction.
and she gave him the blessing.
C'est pour ça que Brahma,
That is why Brahma, our Brahma,
un dévot particulier.
is a particular
Il a
devotee.
marié Radha et Krishna.
Even married Radha and
Radha
Krishna.
et Krishna sont éternellement
Radha and Krishna, they are eternally married,
éternellement.
eternally.
Dans cette belle prière,
In this beautiful prayer, Brahma is
qui
said,
est l'origine de qui
who is the origin of who?
Et tellement de belles paroles sont
So many beautiful words came out.
Et une des
And
paroles pour finir,
one of the words to finish,
qui est si belle.
which is so beautiful,
Alors, je pense que c'est
I think it is,
peut-être Krishna qui l'a dit.
maybe Krishna said
Je
it,
me rappelle plus, c'est
I don't
vraiment-
remember if it's Brahma or
Et
Krishna.
En fait, il dit quand tu apparais.
He says when you appear as the Paramatma,
L'endroit où le Paramatma est
the
situé,
place where Paramatma is situated in the heart is Radharani.
Ah, voilà.
Mm.
C'est tellement merveilleux.
Mm.
En fait, quand Krishna
It's incredible, it's wonderful when Krishna takes the appearance of Brahman, she takes the appearance of
Il est
Brahman.
toujours présent.
She is always present.
Ils sont indissociables.
They're undissociable,
Radharani est présent.
even when Radharani is
C'est la
present.
preuve, en fait,
We have the proof in this pastime, in fact, it's incredible.
dans ce verset.
Jai.